Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel once again. Read with me, and today I have come with another short story, probably from this Grandma's Bag of Stories by Sudha Murty. Let's start. Kaveri and the Thief. The children had gone with their Aja to the paddy fields that morning. They were all city kids and didn't know a thing about farming. On the way, Anand was surprised to see a bird's nest on top of the tree. He said to Aja, I wonder how birds decide where and how to make their nests. Aja said, the straw in the nest is from the paddy field. Do you know, farming helps human beings as well as birds? Krishna replied, Aja, I thought wheat and rice can be just plucked from trees like mangoes. But today I realize there is so much work in farming. That afternoon after lunch, when they gathered around Aji for the day's story, she looked sharply at the children. They had enjoyed learning about farming activities like cleaning sheds and separating the straw from paddy. In the city, everything came from the supermarket, but here they had seen how things were really produced. Aji said, farming is very important. If farmers do not grow any food, what will we all eat? Anand said thoughtfully, if farmers do such important work, why are they so poor? That's true, my dear. Aji sighed, fanning herself. Of course, there are rich farmers too, people who own lots of land, but many in our country till small pieces of land and so make less money. Then, seeing the kids' crestfallen faces, she put down her fan, sat up and said, but I can tell you of a poor farmer woman who did not remain very poor, all due to her sharp wit. Tell Aji, do tell, the kids yelled. So Aji started her story. Kaveri's lazy husband annoyed her no end. There she was working like a donkey in the fields, ploughing and watering and tending a hard, dry piece of land, while her husband snored away happily at home. Why, once when a stranger came asking for some food and water, he just pointed towards the kitchen and went back to sleep. The stranger, thankfully, was an honest man and took only enough for himself and his horse. Not that there was much to steal in Kaveri's little house. They were poor farmers with only a patch of land where nothing seemed to grow. Somehow Kaveri tilled the land, did some odd jobs in the neighborhood, and made ends meet. The land was right next to a temple. On some days, her husband would come along with her on the pretext of helping her, but no sooner would her back be turned than she would find him stretched out near the temple courtyard, gossiping with passing villagers. One day, as she was working in the field, trying to dig up the ground so that, so she could sow some seeds, a thin man with a big moustache appeared beside her. He was a thief and up to no good. Kaveri, of course, did not know this. She greeted him politely and went back to her work. Now, the thief wanted to steal the coins that were given as offerings in the temple and perhaps even the ornaments on the idol. The only way into the temple was by digging his way in from Kaveri's land. But how could he do anything there, with this tough, no-nonsense woman working away? Guessing Kaveri was hard up for money, he whispered to her, Sister, why are you working so hard on this barren land? I will give you 1,000 rupees, see it, sell it to me. Kaveri raised her eyebrows. Why did he want to buy the land for so much money? Surely something was wrong. The thief, since she was not about to sell it to him, so he raised the price. 1,050? No. 2,000? No again. 5,000? No. Kaveri kept shaking her head. She didn't like this odd looking man who was offering her so much money for the field. Clearly, he had some evil plans. Finally, to keep him quiet, she made up a story. I will never sell this land, you see. It belonged to my ancestors. Now we are poor, but I am told that once our family was very rich. Though we lost a lot of our money, much of it was also buried here, in this field by one ancestor, to keep it safe from robbers. Then people forgot about it for years and years. My husband found a clue to the location of the hidden treasure just a few days back. Why do you think I am digging this hard earth? Not to show sheets. Oh no, that's just what everyone thinks. I am actually looking for hidden treasure. The thief was stunned. He felt this woman was really innocent, giving such important information to a stranger. He thought, why should I not take advantage of this situation? Here he was, hoping to steal a few coins from the temple, and this woman was telling him about hidden treasure. He replied in a very humble way, yes, sister, I understand. After all, it is your family treasure. Only you should get it. He pretended to walk away and went and hid himself a little away down the road. Night fell. Kaveri packed up her tools and headed to home. Now the temple too emptied out, and the priest locked it up for the night. Then at midnight, when all was quiet and the night creatures were coming out of their homes, the thief crept into the field. All night he dug and dug looking for treasure, but of course there was no sign of it, as there never had been any treasure to begin with. By the time dawn broke, he realized Kaveri had made a fool of him, and all he could do now was get away from the field fast. When Kaveri reached the field, she grinned to herself. Just as she had expected, the thief had spent the night digging up the land nicely for her. All she needed to do now was sow the seeds. She worked hard in the field for the next few months and managed to grow a good crop. She sold those, and finally they had some money. With a part of this money, Kaveri bought some jewelry. Many months later, the thief decided to show his face in the village again. He was careful to disguise himself though. He trimmed his long moustaches, tried a colorful turban, and pretended to be a traveling salesman. No sooner had he stepped into the village than he saw Kaveri going about her work. But what is this? Instead of the simple, unadorned lady he saw last year, she was now wearing jewelry which looked as though it had been in the family for years. Surely she must have located that missing treasure finally. He was determined to look in her house and find the rest of her money and treasure. That night he appeared at Kaveri's house and said to her husband, I am a traveler and don't have a place to spend the night. Please give me a shelter for the night. Kaveri's husband agreed immediately. Kaveri, however, glimpsed the man from inside the house and saw through his disguise. She knew he must be planning some robbery, so she said in a loud voice, making sure the visitor heard her, oh dear, your dear aunt is all alone at night and has asked us to come stay with her. You know how the dark scares her when your uncle is not there? Come, let us go there for the night. Then, lowering her voice a bit, yet making sure she was heard clearly, she continued, don't worry about the jewels. I have hidden them in little holes in the house walls. No one will suspect the hiding spot. Then she came out and in a normal voice told the thief, brother, you can sleep in the veranda. The house will be locked. Here is some food and water for you. We will come tomorrow morning. The thief smiled to himself at Kaveri's foolishness. Her husband, meanwhile, stared at her with an open mouth, wondering which aunt and what jewels she was talking about. Now, when she firmly walked off, he followed obediently. Now, the thief could not believe his luck. He had the entire night to comb through the house, tap all the walls, and look for the hidden stash of gold ornaments. So he started tap, 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 kick, punch, and shove. He prowled and he tapped, he kicked and he pushed the walls, hoping to spot the jewels. Finally, he tore down all the walls, but of course, there was nothing he could find. Exhausted, he fell asleep and woke only with the crowing of the cock as the sun rose. Quickly, he found his little bundle of things and ran off. Within minutes, Kaveri and her husband returned. Oh, Kaveri, see what the bad man has done to our house. You have him food and shelter and made me come with you, leaving the man alone in the night, her husband wailed. But Kaveri was smiling. Then she broke into peals of laughter and said, Don't worry, I had planned this all along. You see, I saved money from our last crop to rebuild the house. I needed to call in some laborers to help tear it down, but our guest has done it for us. Now we can make a larger house for ourselves, just the way we always wanted. The whole village heard the story and started marveling at her intelligence. Many months flew by. The thief was burning to take revenge. How dare that village woman trick him, that too not once but twice? He realized that she was very clever. One day he dressed up as a bangle seller and started wandering in the village. Kaveri spotted him and knew who he was at once. She said to her friends who were crowding around the bangle seller, Oh dear, I would have loved to get some for myself, but ever since that good-for-nothing thief tried to steal all our money by tearing down our house, I have hidden everything in a little hole in a tree in the woods. Which tree? Her friends asked. Oh no, I am not saying which tree. I am not saying which tree, but it is at last safe and sound out in the forest. The thief looked at her. Yes, Kaveri was wearing an ordinary sari with no ornaments at all. Her friends turned around in astonishment at the crash with which the bangle seller flung down his collection of bangles and made off for the forest. Now only Kaveri was with a grin on her face. Out in the forest, the thief searched high and low for the jewels. He climbed trees, poked around in bushes, got bitten, scourged and growled at, but he would not give up. The jewels were there somewhere and he had to find them. So that is where we will leave him, prowling around in the forest, looking for money and gold that don't belong to him. Everyone praised Kaveri for her quick wit in ridding the village of the thief. She continued to work hard and made more money from her farming and became a rich old lady. Even her husband was shamed into giving up his lazy ways and helping her. As for the thief, who knows, perhaps he is still in that forest looking for what was never his. Now, if only he had learned to work hard like Kaveri, he would have been as rich. The children laughed and laughed when the story was over. The poor thief, Minu and Krishna giggled. Maybe he got eaten by a tiger. Aji grinned. See, she told Anand, sometimes with a bit of luck and lots of pluck, people can change any situation in which they find themselves. Thank you for being patient and listen to the whole story along with me. See you with another exciting story very soon. And please do like, share and comment. Let me know in the comment section, do you like it or not? What kind of stories do you want me to read out for you? And till then, stay blessed and happy. Yeah, ta-ta.